Hey guys, Ali Duzette here, and we had a solar eclipse yesterday. Oh, did you see it? If you saw it, I would love to hear about your experience. You can put it in the comments. You can head over to Facebook. Intuitive Healing with Ali Duzette is my Facebook group, and everyone wants to hear how your solar eclipse experience went. If you got to see it, or even if you didn't, what kind of stories did you have from yesterday? I'm just so interested to see what happened for everyone. Today is day 2 of this eclipse portal. So we have this 14-day window starting yesterday and ending on October 28th, where we have a supercharged ability to learn 18 months worth of life lessons in just 2 weeks. Amazing. Yesterday, I talked a lot about the nature of this eclipse that we just had. So go watch yesterday's if you didn't see it yet. But today, I've run the chart for today, like about exactly 24 hours after that eclipse. And I want to show you this chart. Okay, here's the sun at 22 degrees of Libra next to the south node. And this is the thing that I really wanted to talk about today. The moon and Mars are exact. Do you see that at 2 degrees of Scorpio? And the moon moves really quickly. Just to be clear, the moon is moving real quick. That's how we have a full moon every month. We have a new moon every month. The moon is moving on a 28-day cycle. So it's zipping on through. It spends about 2.5 days in each sign. So yesterday we had the eclipse in Libra, and already just 24 hours later, it's already 2 degrees into Scorpio. And by the end of the day, it'll be more like 7 degrees into Scorpio. And in a couple of days, it's going to have moved on into Sagittarius. So, but the interesting thing about having the moon exact are transiting Mars right now is that we're going to be really feeling senses of conflict. That is what I would expect to come up. We're going to have chances to deal with our inner conflict, and we may have some chances to deal with some outer conflict as well. We're going to see this on a personal level. We're going to see this on a global level. And I am just getting that little feeling. I need to pause really quick and explain that I myself am a Christian, and that I personally view the stars through the lens of, God existing and Jesus being our savior and everything like that. And I that's really how my own journey with the stars is really colored. And so I just wanted to mention that. I don't know why, because it came into my mind to mention it. For me personally, that is how I view the stars, and I use them to kind of give some added context into my own life, into the lives of, the people that, hire me to take a look at their charts, to look at current events. And I am looking at current events from this lens of, from a Christian standpoint, I'm looking at it from like end times views, but also from a secular standpoint, I feel like there is so much going on that is putting us on this trajectory of societal explosion or implosion or something. Like I do feel like we are looking at some kind of collapse in the next 12 years. And I did a lot of videos on this last year because we had a thing called the Pluto return. Which you can go look on my chart. Just go search Ali Duzette Pluto return. You're going to find a bunch of stuff. It's all excellent material, and I super recommend it. But over the next, I guess, 11 years now, we're looking at a lot of things falling apart, and so that is really what I'm looking at on a global level when I do when I look at the stars in the context of current events at large. But I always remember that current events only matter because they affect you, because they affect me. Like, who even cares what's happening in the world at large? What matters is how it's affecting you. And so that's what I kind of love to do, is bridge that gap between everything going on in the world. It's so crazy and big and incomprehensible. Everything going inside of ourselves can also feel that way. Have you ever felt like what's going on in your own soul feels like big and confusing and incomprehensible? Yes, the answer is yes. We all feel that way from time to time. And I feel like when we have that extra ability to look at the stars and understand their meanings, especially from a God-centered perspective, which is what I personally like, things can just make a lot of sense. I just really believe you use this stuff in the context of listening to the Holy Spirit. That is my take. And I try to keep most of my work in a place where people who don't believe in God and stuff like that can still get value out of it. So if you are not a believer, that's fine. And I don't want to like dwell too long on that. So let's bring us back to the moon conjunct Mars. Inner conflict, outer conflict. That is what I'm expecting to see a little bit of today. Now, when we're looking at the stars, so I'll show you the wheel again. the night sky, this zodiacal wheel right here, this is a chart of where all the stars are right now in the context of these different constellations. Okay, so this is Scorpio, this is Sagittarius. If you go outside at night, you can look up and see these different constellations. And this is just going to tell you that Mars right now is passing through where Scorpio looks from our perspective. And it's all done from our perspective, right? But as you look at this, I hope it reminds you of a clock, because that's what it is. It's a clock. I believe that this is a clock that God put in the sky. And if you know how to read the clock, then you can tell a lot of things about the world and how it works. Of course, Jesus's birth was marked with a star, right? Of course. And the people that could recognize that were extra blessed in their ability to find Jesus, right? But okay, when you have a clock, right? So let's talk about noon. When you see noon on a clock, you know that it's about lunchtime for most people. Is everyone going to eat lunch at 12 o'clock? No, they're not. Not everybody is going to eat lunch at the stroke of noon, but many people might. And many people might choose to eat their lunch between 12 and 1. And you don't know exactly what time. And maybe they're going to eat it actually a little bit earlier than noon. Maybe they might eat it a little later, or maybe they intermittently fast or something. But you can know in general, probably around noon is going to be lunchtime, right? And that's kind of how the stars work. And when you know how to read them, you know that it doesn't mean something is going to happen on that day. But when the clock strikes noon, you know, okay, you know, in the next hour, it would make sense if people ate some lunch. And so the moon transiting this Mars in Scorpio doesn't mean that today is going to be filled with conflict. That's not what it means. But it might mean that for you. It might mean that for plenty of people. But on a more global scale, what I would be looking at is that whatever's going on today, we'll probably see the aftermath of it on a global level, you know, in a few days, in a few weeks. The stuff that happens that affects nations, a lot of times we don't see it the second it happens, because the people that are making the decisions are doing it behind closed doors, and we don't find out for weeks to come. I've talked about this a lot in the context of 2020, because we had a lot of constellations and conjunctions and interesting stuff happening that did all come to pass, just in a different timeline than expected. But still in a somewhat expected timeline. I don't know. Anyway, today we're looking at some inner and possibly external conflict. And what I want to invite you to do today is look within and really assess, where are you feeling conflicted? This is going to be a real theme of the next 12 days, 13 days until October 28th. We're all getting all sorts of stuff coming up for us that we are feeling conflicted about, right? What's going to happen during this particular eclipse portal. And I say that because of exactly how these eclipses are happening for this time. This is not true every time. It's true this time. This time, what I'm expecting is that things will organically show up that will force us to reevaluate where we have been feeling indecisive. What is another word for indecision? It's kind of conflict. I mean, those are not true synonyms, but when you can't make a decision, usually it's because there's an inner conflict where we're seeing both sides and we're having a struggle letting one win. And part of the message of this exact eclipse portal is that we got to let one win. Which one is it going to be? So I'm expecting some conflicts to show up for us. Hopefully they will be little, or hopefully they will be easily resolved, and maybe they won't be. And we're just going to have to see that for ourselves. And it's going to depend person to person. And it's going to depend on the attitude that we bring into it, because the stars don't control anything. We control our lives. And the stars are kind of like the weather. Did the snow force you to put on a parka? It did not, but you probably might put on a parka when it snows, and it's just the same. The moon is next to Mars today. Is that going to make you pick fights? No, but it kind of might influence you in that direction if your soul is in a space where it wants to pick fights, right? It's kind of created the backdrop, just like snow doesn't make you wear a parka, and it being 105 degrees doesn't make you wear shorts. You still had a choice, but your choices are likely to conform with how the weather is influencing you to make these choices, right? So that's kind of what we're looking at. Okay, so this is day 2. Yesterday, I talked about the importance of releasing frustration, and today I wanted to talk about releasing hopelessness. So this is my main website, allieduzeclasses.com, and these are all sessions that help you heal your subconscious mind, and they're mostly in alphabetical order, but not totally, because of reasons, you know. Come on, hopelessness. Here we go. Healing hopelessness. This is the one that really came to my mind to suggest today. Healing hopelessness. This is about getting rid of the part of yourself that has no hope. And so this is what somebody said about it. Healing hopelessness is one of the best all-purpose sessions when you can't quite nail down exactly what is wrong. It makes life livable. Yes. So this one really came to mind to suggest today because it is so all-purpose. And as we're heading into this time where a lot of conflicts may come up for us, this clearing our hopelessness is going to help us shift into a space of hopefulness. And we know faith, hope, and charity are part of the necessary ingredients to move forward in life in a space of peace and doing it right with our Creator. And so that is the session that I'm going to suggest today. I'll have a link for that below. I'm really hoping that we can all use this 2-week period to really change our lives. We can use it as a trampoline to bounce ourselves ahead, or we can use it as an anchor that like weighs us down and drags us through the dirt. I want you to have a great experience through this eclipse portal. So that is my recommendation for you. Those are my thoughts for you. A couple of days ago, I recorded some other videos on healing inner conflict during this eclipse portal. So if you haven't seen them, go back and look at them. I think they're called like Libra and Aries inner conflict or something like that. So they're good and they will be helpful if I'm talking about this and you're feeling that sense of inner conflict. Those are going to be helpful to you. So anyway, thanks for watching. My besties, come hang out on Facebook if you want. Intuitive Healing with Ali Duzette. Everyone in there is A+, very fun, wonderful people, and we're all very kind in there. And I'm just so excited to hear about your experiences with the next 2 weeks. Okay, love you guys. Bye.